We are at base camp right now, and we've just been resting for the last 2 days after coming down from our first rotation up, trying to first find and then summit some of these peaks that we're permitted to climb. So we spent all day yesterday just taking care of our chores, getting our laundry done, showers, eating and drinking. Base camp dinner. It's always a Mustang Mystery. And then today we're going to try to do a little bit more of the same and prepare to head back up tomorrow and see if we can't climb some of these peaks. On a trip like this, where we're trying to climb some peaks that haven't been climbed before and potentially haven't even been seen by anybody before, I think success gets defined very differently from other trips. You know, sometimes when you're on a climbing trip, it's very summit oriented, you're trying to get to the summit of a peak, everything you're doing is working towards that. Where this trip, that's also true, but I think success is a little bit more defined by how you endeavor in that process. When we went up on this first rotation, it took us 3 days to even see these peaks, and we're standing suddenly in this cirque of little mountain prominences. You know, there's this beautiful granite and there's this amazing snow slope, and it's just unbelievable. And we're just right on the border of China and Nepal, in an area that, you know, very few people have ever set foot. And I just think that's been a huge success for us, is being able to put our noses in an area that is unexplored and do it ourselves. You know, I think that's been a really cool aspect of this whole trip, is there is no answer card. We can't flip over the card and find the path. It's unwritten. You know, we're just trying to figure it out, and we're potentially making the path.
Just the feeling of being in the mountains and going somewhere that potentially nobody else has been before is the most significant part to me of doing a first ascent. It doesn't have to be super technically hard, it just needs to be fun and just being out there and exploring.
I think being able to accomplish the first ascent of one of these peaks on this trip would be really amazing. I've never done a first ascent of anything before. Getting to the summit of a peak before anybody else has ever done it, I think is really intriguing. It's sort of like a romantic notion from the British explorers of the 20s in a way, you know, just going out and finding a way to get to the tops of these peaks and looking and seeing what you find. And I'm always interested in trying to grow and learn and do things a little bit differently, and so I think it would be pretty amazing to be lucky enough to be some of the first people to stand on the summit of some of these peaks. It's about 2 o'clock on November 2nd, and we just reached the summit of Mustang Himal. And we think we're the first people to climb this peak. And it was an amazing climb up a beautiful face in perfect snow conditions. Just absolutely wonderful climbing up to this point. And it's a calm, wonderful day up here, and I just couldn't be any happier to be here. Team Mustang Mystery on the Six Hammers route. Pretty crazy to think that we may be the only humans to ever have stood on this point. So I've never done that before.
Me neither.
Pretty special.
Pretty
Yeah.
cool. This trip has kind of just brought me back to the beginnings of climbing. When I first started climbing, just the adventure of getting out and being out in the mountains and checking out new things and climbing on peaks I'd never been on before, and that's kind of brought me back to that. It's been one of the best expeditions I've done in a long time, if not ever. Yeah, it's kind of sad that it's coming to an end here.
I think it's always hard to tell exactly what a trip means when you're so close to the end of it and you don't have very much separation from it. But right now I feel like this trip could be one of the best expeditions of my life. I spend almost all my time in the mountains, away from, you know, normal life and civilization, and you start to realize that the people you spend your life with here, they make up your life. They make up who you are. And this trip was awesome. I just think our team worked so well together. It couldn't have been done any better. It was amazing to explore a new area that I didn't know anything about, get to learn about the Mustang, and do that with two very good friends and have just this really positive experience. It was one of my favorite expeditions I've ever done.